These polls are pretty stunning. 3 of them in a row right now, as the DNC convention gets underway, suggesting that it's not a layup for Kamala Harris. Not a layup at all. In fact, when you look at something like Pennsylvania, which is really, really important, 19 electoral votes and could make or break this election, guess what? She's not doing so well. Newsweek had the headline, Kamala Harris suffers triple polling blow before DNC starts. I want to share with you the Emerson College poll that just came out showing 44 to 43. Again, super tight. It's just a point difference spread. But you know, when you listen to the media, for goodness sakes, you'd think that she had this all the way to the bank and that there was just no chance in HELL that Donald Trump was ever going to survive. You know, I'm kind of tired of listening to that narrative because I think it's actually a far tighter race than any of them are willing to let on. Here's another poll just came out. This one also on Pennsylvania, Insider Advantage showing 46.6% going to Trump, 46% going to Harris. Now again, really tight stuff. But I think it's important to note that when you actually drill down and you look at who's supporting who, what you see is there's a real opportunity here. Yes, it's tight. Keep in mind, number one, Donald Trump tends to poll lower, shall we say, than a Democrat would. And part of that is because of the pressure, the constant pressure. I was looking at, actually, I wasn't looking, but a friend saw this on LinkedIn. Someone wrote something rather nasty on my LinkedIn account, saying something to, as an economist, saying, oh, you know, I remember when you were at Bloomberg and you were this, that, or the other. Because you see, they're so entrenched in this narrative that they have to buy into. And they're all such super duper lefties. And the critique on me was, how dare you, frankly, if you read between the lines, it's how dare you tell the truth. Trish, how dare you tell the truth? I thought you were one of us. Well, guess what? I never was. I never will be. I am my own person. Really and truly my own person. A registered independent, mind you, because I'll tell you, you're willing to cut taxes. You're willing to put in a good, strong border. You're willing to keep us safe. You got my vote. It doesn't even have to be partisan. You understand that, ladies and gentlemen? Well, a lot of people are afraid to say, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump because of, well, what I, for example, have been subjected to. Now, I don't care. I'm a public person. I'm willing to take it. But think about it. If you're not a public person, do you really want to tell some pollster on the phone, yeah, I'm voting for Trump? I don't think so, especially when they've suddenly given you this wonderful, terrific, panacea of an alternative in Kamala Harris. It's like, well, what's wrong with you? Why wouldn't you possibly be voting for Kamala Harris? Here's another poll hitting Harris right where it counts. 46 to 45. Neapolitan News RMG Group doing this national poll, taken between August 12th and 14th, 46% going to Trump, 45% going to Harris. Again, razor thin. But I think you have to discount it a little bit because you got to understand it takes a lot to say, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. It's easy to say, yeah, you know what? It's a brat summer. I'm going with Harris. I'm one of the cool kids. Let me tell you, you're not that cool when you're struggling to pay your bills, when you're struggling with mass inflation like we've had to struggle with this administration. It's not that cool when you've got grocery costs that have gone upwards of some nearly 30%. This is a graphic on inflation. Donald Trump actually shared this the other day. Gasoline up 51%, electricity up 32%, airfare up 23%, groceries up 22%, rent up 22%. I'm sorry, you know what? This is not a good report card. Eggs up 47%, car insurance up 54%, 66% increase in food with kids from K to 12. And you want to sit there and you want to tell me that this woman is the answer? That Biden had it all figured out, that Kamala Harris, with her talk of price controls and $25,000 going to every single person who's a first-time home buyer, she's going to give you $25,000. She just jacked up the price. Thank you very much by $25,000 for first-time home buyers. In addition, she wants to raise corporate taxes to 28%. 28%. I mean, we're going to be like one of the highest. I mean, we're already pretty high. I like Ireland. Thank you very much. 12% they got over there. And by the way, it's paid off for them, right? You've got all these tech companies coming in, these shotgun marriages. They want to do a sudden merger with an Irish company because guess what? You got a way lower tax rate. You know, it's not that hard, Kamala. But for Kamala, she has a different agenda. And her agenda is just to win at all costs. I don't think you can really trust anything that she's saying. And you just need to go back and look at her history. You look at that history right there, and that tells you sort of everything you need to know. If you ask me, I mean, I'm just sort of plain and simple, but I look at the policies that have been in effect. Another shout out to one of our great sponsors, up to $15,000, you guys, in free gold. I was just checking gold earlier today because, wow, I mean, it has been on such a tear. One of the things that Rob and I do talk about in our inflation protection portfolio at 76, but up to $15,000 in free gold, forgive me, free silver right now, ladies and gentlemen, because this is just 1-844-495-1115. This is something you should take a look at. I think this is great that they have this. You can text my name, Trish, Trish, to 65532. Text Trish to 65532. American Hartford Gold. Anyway, wow, right? I mean, she's got such a bad track record and she wants to get another term. I just don't get it. I mean, that's not how it works, or it's not how it should work anyway. Not when you're looking at inflation and this kind of thing like that, okay? That's a big, big jump in eggs, 47%. Again, air prices up 23%. I'll tell you, she is not going to be able to fix this. Certainly not with price controls. Trump knows it. I know it. You know it. The question is, how many of those people answering the polls really know it? I think deep down they do.
Kamala went full communist. You heard that? She went full communist. She wants to destroy our country. After causing catastrophic inflation, Comrade Kamala announced that she wants to institute socialist price controls. You saw that. Never worked before. Never, ever worked. This is the Maduro plan, Venezuela. Maduro plan of like the old Soviet Union. They tried it. How did the Soviet Union work out? It became Russia, a smaller version. It was a smaller version. It will cause rationing, hunger, and skyrocketing prices, just like their Inflation Reduction Act caused, one of the great scams of all time. They got it approved with a beautiful name, Inflation Reduction, because inflation under their system has been so bad. It's gone up much more than 50%. You know, they say 30, 40, 50, much more. People are being devastated. They're being devastated.
And one of the reasons they're being devastated, guys, is you got to remember that with inflation going up the way it has, it's not like wages have gone up simultaneously. So you're going up, up, up and away. Even when it comes down, as they say, to 2.9%, as it did in the latest month of the CPI index, it's still on the heels of what we saw before. I mean, at one point, we were up 9-point-something%. This stuff is cumulative, and it's not like wages were going up 9% that month. And so people are feeling it. It is challenging. And this is ultimately, I think, what is going to be effectively the nail in her coffin. This is why I don't think that she can get elected. But again, let's go back to the polls, okay? Take a look here. We were just talking about some of the Pennsylvania polls. Pennsylvania is really important. You need those 19 electoral votes. It could decide this election. Emerson College poll just coming in, showing super, super tight race. You've got, again, another one coming out of Insider Advantage out of Pennsylvania. Again, super, super, super tight. 0.6% there. And then, of course, the national poll that just came out from Neapolitan News, 46 to 45%. This comes on the heels, shall I point out, of this poll I want to show you. This is a Fox News poll. Take a look at that. Again, razor thin. This is recent, coming out with Harris 1 point behind Donald Trump. And you compare and contrast that with, say, the Rasmussen poll, and Rasmussen is showing a rather more of an advantage, I should say, to Donald Trump. He's 5 points ahead there in the Rasmussen. Now that's down maybe a point or so since Kamala came into that, but that's one to keep an eye on. And this is why some people in the media, David Axelrod, who's run the campaign, like he has to be careful and he has to run scared. And it's one of the reasons why he was making news on the airwaves saying this.
Have changed dramatically, but this is still a very competitive race. If the election were today, I'm not sure who would win. And I think it may well be President Trump, because it's an electoral college fight. Right. And in those battleground states.
Yeah, we were looking at national numbers at the top of this program. It's misleading.
And I've said several times here that you know, for a Democrat to win those battleground states, they have to have a significant lead in the Electoral College. Remember, Joe Biden won by 7 million votes nationally last time, and a margin of 45,000 votes or 44,000 votes in the three closest battleground states combined.
So that's important, and he's not wrong. And it's one thing to win the popular vote. It's another thing to actually win the Electoral College. And so the question then becomes, who can get the pathway, right? Who can get through the Electoral College? It's why the Democrats these days don't really like the Electoral College because, you know, they got California, they got New York, and they figure, well, then therefore they have the country. But you don't. You know, the reason we have an Electoral College is so that little states like the one I grew up in live free or die in New Hampshire. It's right here on the mug. You can go to the trishregan.shop for more information or to help support the show there and get your Live Free or Die Trish Regan Show mug. But given that New Hampshire is such a small state, why would it ever even matter in the scheme of things if it didn't have those two Electoral College votes? This is why this stuff matters, guys. And they want to shape it so that it helps them. And that's pretty dangerous. We can't change it. It is what it is, okay? So get with the program. All right, I realize very, very tight polls right now. So that's important for you to understand. And so the next time somebody says to you, oh, you know, she's got it locked up, I don't think she does. I think everybody needs to run scared. Everyone needs to be very, very aware of all that's happening. But I don't necessarily think she does.